The end of globalization. Joe Biden's first address to Congress has sparked a debate and strong apprehension that the world may be heading towards the demise of globalization, which began with the introduction of market reforms by Deng Xiaoping in China in 1978. In his address, Biden stated, "There can be no reason why the blades for wind turbines can't be built in Pittsburgh instead of Beijing. No reason, none." He further emphasized, "There is no reason why American workers can't lead the world in the production of electric vehicles and batteries. We have the capacity." Referring to microchips and semiconductors, he asserted, "We need to make these chips right here in America." These statements from a leading superpower, a significant shift and hint at a new era in the global system. The question arises, is such a shift possible in today's interconnected global economy? And can these connections be severed? Why is the United States so deeply concerned, and what are the new threats, challenges, and emerging rivalries on the international stage? This is the area in which we are entering and how things may unfold in the years ahead. Let us take an overview of the likely emergence of the new global economy. Both the United States and China have imposed tariffs on each other to make imports more expensive, aiming to protect local industries and production. The tensions began when President Donald Trump imposed heavy duties on Chinese aluminum and steel, sparking a trade war between the two countries to balance their trade. China continues to be perceived as the biggest threat to the United States. It is evident that not every country can produce everything within its own borders, except in areas where it has a competitive advantage or the core competencies. This has been a historical practice and continues today, leading to the exchange of goods between states for mutual benefit. However, a trend toward adopting protectionist policies is observed globally nowadays. Looking into the recent past, it appears that things were going smoothly, predominantly favoring the industrial West before the introduction of market reforms in China in 1978. Foreign companies were allowed to do business on the eastern coast of China, benefiting from the country's cheap labor and other inputs. This led to the influx of transnational corporations from the United States, Europe, and Japan into China, contributing to China's spectacular economic growth. The cheap products manufactured in China found their way into the whole world, including the USA and India. Apart from China, many developing countries like India, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia also benefited from this worldwide investment phenomenon. Economic globalization, outsourcing, and interdependence helped nations avoid conflicts as well. Now the question arises, can this trend be reversed? The USA has imposed 10% tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports. India is incentivizing companies to keep their products affordable, and South Korea is providing subsidies to companies for green energy infrastructure production. Japan is encouraging companies to bring production back to Japan and move supply chains away from China, while Australia is offering incentives to mining companies for establishing rare earth mineral processing facilities within their borders. Nigeria is imposing restrictions on foreign goods to encourage local production of items like rice and cement. The European Union is also adopting protectionist measures by providing government support to homegrown industries that heavily rely on global economy, including energy, agriculture, and cars. The USA is undergoing a policy shift, with both Republicans and Democrats favoring protectionist measures. Biden is serious about imposing tariffs on imports to protect domestic producers and plans to restrict the sale of certain items to China, making a significant move towards protectionism. Unlike Clinton and Obama, who favored China with the hope that market reforms in China would lead to the full democracy, but China put a great challenge to the United States, not only economically but also being the biggest army on the planet. Now the focus of the USA is on microchips. The US is concerned about China acquiring the capability to produce high-quality chips, potentially enabling the development of sophisticated weaponry and AI-driven tools. This policy could become a source of future conflict. This all indicates that there is a global trend towards economic nationalism and populism, leading to increased barriers in the name of protection. This surge is likely to cause tension between major powers, and the next decade will determine the fate of globalization and the World Trade Organization established 2 decades ago to address protectionism. One thing is evident, that current wave of protectionism is not a novel phenomenon in the world. It traces back to the post-World War II era, particularly newly emerged nations, as independence movement paved the way for the establishment of the WTO. Presently, the United States, along with a few other countries, is attempting to shift towards protectionist policies, recognizing that no simple country can manufacture everything efficiently. International markets are positioned to acquire quality goods at more affordable rates. Consequently, no country can restrain the free movement of goods solely under the influence of market forces, devoid of regulation, threats, or controls. President Donald Trump employed both coercive measures and incentives in an endeavor to bring transnational corporations back to the USA, but without success. The world extends beyond the major players like the USA, China, India, Japan, and the EU. Regions such as Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and ASEAN, boasting abundantly youthful labor and considerably potential for foreign investment, are drawing investors from China, India, the European Union, the USA, and even Russia. Russia in particular recently hosted the Africa Summit in St. Petersburg, signaling its willingness to embrace investment in Africa. A notable development includes a deal with Mali to construct a refinery for gold, a departure from the historical practice of sending it to the France for refining. This signifies the commencement of a competitive exploration and exploitation of Africa's potential, not only in terms of its rich mineral resources, but also its abundant and cost-effective workforce, a resource in short supply in the Western world. Thank you very much. God bless you.